Hey guys, welcome back to another Exotic Car Hacks YouTube video. Today we are going to look at 6 exotics that are highly preferred by fake millionaires out there. You know, one of the big things that we do at Exotic Car Hacks is teach just about anybody how to be able to afford an exotic car, from Ferraris to Maseratis to Lamborghinis and everything in between. But, you know, it seems that way before I even existed and way before all these YouTube copycats started taking on this concept of teaching you about exotic car depreciation and so on and so forth, there are still a large number of people that are driving exotic cars that are a lot more affordable than you think, and in many cases are pretending that they're buying them new and are super rich as a result of owning them. So today we are going to look at the 6 most loved cars amongst what I call fake millionaires. People who may have some money, but certainly don't have the level of money that is perceived by the people that are watching them drive these cars. And so we're going to talk about these 6 cars so you too can start identifying a little bit more about who has real money versus who is just pretending by owning a car that was purchased at 10 cents on the dollar and yet seems to be so much more expensive than it is. Ready? Let's hit it with number 1. All right, guys. So the first and most loved cars by fake millionaires, you may have guessed it, it's a Maserati, and we see more of those than ever before. With the new Maserati Ghibli starting with a base price of in the 40s, that sounds a little bit crazy, right? And with options being available for as little as $60,000 to $70,000, it now means that Maseratis are cheaper than Mercedes-Benz cars. But there is one specific Maserati that's been getting cheaper year after year for quite a long time, and it's not the Ghibli. Because while the Ghibli may provide an alternative good value for a daily driver car, it certainly isn't as exciting as the Maserati Gran Turismo, which is our number 1 car on our list, you know, which is the car that most fake millionaires drive. Now, why do they drive it? Well, currently, with the Maserati Gran Turismo, you can buy a 2008 for as little as $23,000. That's right, $23,000 to get you in a modern-looking Maserati. And believe it or not, since 2008 to really recently till 2018, the Maserati Gran Turismo minus a front and rear bumper pretty much look the exact same. And so a lot of people have a hard time deciphering the difference between an 08, a 12, or an 18, making the Maserati Gran Turismo an incredibly good cheater car, so we call it in industry, because of its obviously cheaper dollar up front and its very low cost of maintenance. Now, there are a few things you can do to see how the Maserati Gran Turismo is ultimately a cheater car. First off, most cheater cars are between 2008 and 2010. This was the first body, and if you just do a very basic Google search, you'll quickly see how the 2008 and 10s differ from the 12s and on when it comes to bumpers. Now, one of the other things with the 8s is that you'll notice, especially in your fake millionaire friends, that the dashboard is starting to shrink on a lot of the older 08s, and a lot of the buttons inside seem to be sticky with a lot of lint covered on them. That's typically because they're buying very cheap auction cars that are, you know, in the 20s and aren't maintained properly. These are not collector grade Maseratis, of course. These are show-off Maseratis. So if you ever see a Maserati Gran Turismo, pay attention to the dashboard leather. Is it shrunk back? Are the buttons sticky? And more importantly, is it a 2008 to 10? Because if it is likely that it is indeed a fake millionaire. All right, so in second place comes a car that I'm going to get a lot of heat for, because I know a lot of you love this car. And I do too. Let me tell you, I really do. And so it's very hard to put on this list. But reality is most, or I should say the majority of people who buy these cars are ultimately buying them because they realize that the general public thinks they're worth 2 to 3 times what they are. In reality, they're not. And next on our list is the Audi R8. That's right, the Audi R8 that is loved by so many of you is one of the most sought after cars by fake millionaires. Now, why? Well, remember, the Audi R8, again, is available both in V8 and V10 formats. And while you have to have a little bit of money to buy an R8, believe it or not, today you can actually find an R8, a 2008 R8 V8, which looks just as nice as some of the later models that we've seen all the way up to 2013 and 2014, and yet only has a price of $50,000 to $60,000. That's right, $50,000 to $60,000 will get you into a beautiful R8, a car that Iron Man put on the map, and that so many people seek to buy because of low insurance costs and, of course, low cost of maintenance. You see, the 2008 R8, while is it only a V8, is actually an incredible car. And so this is by no disrespect any negative feedback towards the car, but really that such a car is available at such a low price that technically your cousin's Range Rover is probably worth more money. And so when you start thinking that an R8 could be bought for as little as $600–700 a month, it doesn't sound all that impressive. So what are typical cheater R8s? Well, first off, they're automatic R8s. They're not the 6-speed cars. Those are typically owned by enthusiasts. And so, money or not, they're certainly not the type of cars fake millionaires go after. They'll go after the 2008 or 2009 R-tronic R8s in today's age, meaning not 5 years ago when they were popular, but right now, because they can be bought very cheap. They typically have over 25,000 miles, really closer nearing 40,000, giving them a low enough price that it becomes very affordable. In addition to that, you'll notice a few basic things with cheater R8s. The first one is that they're all V8s. There's no such thing as a cheater V10, meaning most people that buy V10s have a good idea of what's happening in the car market and are buying those cars as enthusiasts. Most people that buy V8s want a cheaper, more affordable R8. Now, you'll also notice that they usually don't have carbon fiber blades on the side, and most of them don't even have leather dashboard. They actually have this weird texture on the dashboard that is like a vinyl that enables longer duration of the dashboard looking cleaner for a longer time, but ultimately is also a huge downgrade option, something that allows the car to be much cheaper. These are typically the R8 that roam the land in that dollar range, and are often the ones that what I call fake millionaires are buying to impress the crowds. And so you got to look out if you start seeing one of your friends drive a 2008, 2009 R8 V8 R-tronic and are noticing that it doesn't have a carbon blade, a lot of carbon fiber, and the dashboard isn't leather, you may want to start questioning them about their dollars, because I can guarantee you that they're certainly not that expensive. I mean, it's cool to know that one of these cars is affordable for as little as $600–700 a month, but it's really not that impressive. Okay, in third position, now is a car that you've seen and your fake rich friends from your real rich friends from, and that's because they drive old ass Bentley GTs. Now, the Bentley GT, originally came out in 2004 for the US market and became very popular, originally starting in the 200s and currently still remaining with newer models in the 200s. But reality is British cars depreciate faster than just about any other car, which is why the Bentley GT has become an all-time favorite amongst fake millionaires. Starting with 2004 and 2005 models, you ready for this? So as little as $30,000. That's right. Who would have thought only in America you could be living the American dream for 30,000 fake dollars, meaning that you get to drive your car and pretend you're rich while everybody looks at you and says, wow, look at that young guy in a Bentley GT. And let me tell you a little bit about who the fake, or what type of Bentley GTs the fake millionaires are buying. They ain't buying the latest and greatest, right? What they're buying are 2004 to 2007 Bentley GT coupes. They're buying them, and you can usually tell they're the fake millionaire ones because they're usually riding dirty and really low, right? Because the airbags and the suspensions have popped, and unfortunately they forgot where they left their $5,000 to fix it. And so often you'll find that a lot of Bentley GTs, especially the older bodies, are going to be roaming around pretending to be owned by really rich guys. But in reality, if they look a little bit lowered on the front or in the back, it's because someone don't have the cash to pay for those airbags. So they end up riding really low. That's the first way you can tell. The second way you can tell is by looking at the interior of the car. If the headliner is falling down and apart, it's typically because it's old, and old Bentleys do that a lot. And you can spot those really easily by simply getting into the cars, looking up, and then asking your friend why his headliner is touching his head. Typically, that's because, once again, they ain't got the money to fix the headliner. The other thing is also the buttons, and you'll start noticing this on a lot of Bentleys. They're missing. It's like, where do you go? I don't know. I just don't have buttons. Why don't I have buttons? Well, I was going to turn on the headlight, but the button's missing. Why? Because someone jacked the knob, or the plastic fell off, because the shit's old. It's like 12 years old. So the stuff fell off. Nobody fixed it because it's expensive. The knob's like $700. Ain't nobody got $700 to fix it. So they bought the car with like a $400 a month payment. They thought it was a good idea. and they see all the expenses, but hey, they're loving the attention too much. So that is actually by far the most bought and sought after car by fake millionaires everywhere, which is why they actually leave the market so fast when they come that cheap. You know, most people who actually want the genre of a car, because there is always an audience that wants an older, respectable Bentley, are typically buying the 08, 09 speeds, or if they are buying the older cars, they're buying prime mint examples, you know, with 10, 15,000 miles, who really have all documented history, etc. Fake millionaire cars will also sport one crazy thing that a lot of the collector grade cars won't, and that's 50,000 plus miles, baby. 50,000 plus miles driven by 8 to 10 to 15 different people in 500-mile increments before something broke, they couldn't afford it and put it back on the market. And so ultimately, if you start seeing Bentley GTs with 50K plus miles, broken headliners, and look like they're lowered, riding, you know, like on the floor with 18-inch wheels, it's probably because you're dealing with a fake millionaire. So pay that in mind. And now next. All right, guys, so we're talking about British cars, so we're going to continue it on this trend. Now, everybody wants to be like Daniel Craig, right? And James Bond. Unfortunately, most of us are fatter and not as rich.
Hey, I'm Doug. Nice to meet you. Whoa, have you lost weight?
No, it's still there. I'm just parting it on the side.
We were more interested in that car over there.
Lois, let me handle this.
Peter, this car has dents in it, and it's got a cardboard steering wheel.
Yeah, just a second, honey.
And look, there's no engine. It just has a drawing of an engine.
But it only had one previous owner. James Bond.
I'll take it. Okay, let's see what this baby can do, huh?
Okay, anyways, I was having a moment there, sorry, because I drive a Vanquish, and unfortunately, apparently, I am fatter and not as rich as Daniel Craig, so it hit me for a second that I was talking about this. But anyways, we're not talking about me, we're talking about fake millionaires and the cars they buy, and they're not buying new Vanquishes, they are buying old Aston Martin DB9s. What are the DB9s? The DB9s are simply awesome old cars available for $45,000 to $50,000. And you may be wondering, are you out of your mind, dude? You're telling me I can buy an Aston Martin? I'm actually telling you, you can buy an Aston Martin for $30,000, but I'm telling you that the fake millionaire guys, they're buying the ones that are 40 and 50 because they look richer in them. You see, the DB9 is a beautiful car, but unfortunately now it's a very old car. And since 04, 05, and 06 are very popular years for fake millionaires because they look somewhat the same as some of the later DBS models, except with different bumpers again. It's this bumper thing that gets them. They like the cheaper bumpers. So they're buying these older cars, and guess what? Here's a couple of ways you can tell if someone's driving a DB9 because they're a collector or they're a fake millionaire. First off, the fake ones, the really cheap ones, okay? They're really bizarre colors. It could be anything from black to some weird turquoise, but the interiors are in horrendous condition. Most of the Aston Martins that are actually fake millionaire Astons are left in the sun a lot. They can be bought in buy here, pay here lots. They're literally left in the sun, and you will start noticing the leather shrinking across the entire dashboard. So that's problem one. Secondly, it looked like someone put a ton of Armor All inside to make it real shiny, to really prevent you from seeing that. The other part behind this is also you'll start noticing that all of the transmissions are automatic. 6-speed DB9s are for real collectors and enthusiasts, but automatic DB9s from back in the day have all plastic buttons and are very old looking in the interior. The real thing with the DB9 that's really nice for fake millionaires is that the body really has changed very little between 04 all the way up to, I'm sorry, I should say 05, because some of you in Europe have got these cars in 04, but the rest of us in America got them 1 year after you. So since 05 for the US market, all the way up to 2010 pretty much, a lot of these cars looked identical in just about every way. So it makes it very hard to tell the difference. Even the wheel packages were almost the same. So, you know, it's very, very difficult for normal people to tell the difference, but it's awesome for fake millionaires because they don't even have to pretend too hard. The cars are pretty solid. Now, even better than that, the cars don't really break down that much. They aren't that fast. They don't sound that great, but they really don't break down that much. And it makes it one of the most accepted fake millionaire cars out there. Now, the one downfall to this car, is that a lot of people don't seem to realize that the DB series does not get that much attention. So one of the key things is that with all of these older fake millionaire cars, they'll always want to park them up front. They'll do that because nobody will notice them if they're parked in the back, because a lot of these Aston Martins are very subtle and elegant. And while most of them would be gentlemen's cars, some of them are becoming available to all people, meaning that we're going to see a lot of Daniel Craigs getting fatter and a lot poorer over time, because a lot of the people buying these cars certainly aren't, they're getting lower and lower and more affordable, so people's caliber are kind of coming down. And now, next. All right, so next is one that, again, most of you will be like, there's no way. I know so many people that are rich driving these. The Lamborghini. You ready for this? I'm not about to say Aventador. I didn't just break your heart. I know there's a kid watching this right now that's like, dude, I've always wanted an Aventador. Did you just say fake millionaires drive Aventadors? Actually, the Aventador is a car that a lot of fake millionaires drive, but is also quite expensive, meaning that even on the used side, you're still paying $200K plus. So there is some type of money involved in owning an Aventador, but today we are talking about the Lamborghini Gallardo. One of, actually, I must say, one of the best cars someone can buy under 20 grand or so. But the Lamborghini Gallardo is obviously associated with having a lot of money, because most Lamborghinis are today as well. But a lot of the fake millionaires are not driving just any Gallardos. They're driving 2004 and 2005 E-Gear Gallardos. And they're doing that because you can buy them as low as $70,000. That's right. Did you ever think you could afford a Lamborghini? Well, now is the time to start looking, because $70,000 will get you in the door in a Gallardo, a car that you've probably been dreaming of or have looked at. You see, the Gallardo, since its inception in 2004, has become a huge and very successful platform for Lamborghini, and actually gave birth to the Huracan as well, right? The point was that the V10 platform is very popular, but now the cars are starting to show their age. 2004 and 2005 were incredible years and still are for enthusiasts, as long as they're six-speed cars. Six-speed cars are retaining their value between 90 and 100K versus E-Gear cars that have now dropped to the 70s. Now, there are a couple of problems with the E-Gear cars. First off, the transmissions are complete crap. And secondly, the cars don't drive that well. But that won't stop a fake millionaire from buying one. Here's a couple of things you should know on how to spot an older Gallardo and how much money does the person have that's driving it. First off, the cars typically have over 30,000 miles. They're cars that are either near or over that mark, and as a result can be bought very cheap. You'll notice paddles behind the steering wheel column. Those are for the E-Gear. And more importantly, you'll notice that while you may kind of understand where the shifter buttons are, you'll notice that all the logos are gone. That's right. There is no Corsa mode. There is nothing. All there is just some buttons on the dash, and all the symbols are gone. I wonder why. Because they're starting to show their age, and having sat in the sun, unfortunately, fake millionaires are not spending $800 a button to fix them. And so a lot of these cars will have magical buttons all over that seem to have no markings on them. One could bring out a leprechaun, the other one could explode the car, or one could make it turn into a jet fighter, but I guess you'll never know, because they don't even know which button to press. Most of them don't know where the window switches are. They could be on the right, on the left, or in the center, but somehow they'll manage to find them by clicking all buttons and pretending they're trying to use the radio. Now, keep in mind that any Gallardo owner from 04 to 05 with over 30,000 miles didn't buy their car because they're a collector. They bought their car because they wanted to pretend. So if you're going to be buying an 04 or 05 Gallardo, make sure it's a 6-speed so you don't fall victim to this same to being identified as a fake millionaire or so. So I know it's disappointing because many of you wanted a Gallardo, and I know most of you will at some point probably want a Gallardo still, and it's okay. If you're going to be buying one, either buy a 6-speed or progress to the LP560. It's just a much more respectable platform. And now, last but not least, this car really hurts my heart because I still think, even to this day, fake millionaire or not, it is probably one of the greatest exotics on the road. And so it pains my heart to say that it is selected by fake millionaires across the globe as a statement. And it is the ultimate statement because it's the greatest, one of the greatest exotics built in modern history that really is just a great car. It's not that it's fast. It's not that it's extremely luxurious. It's just an incredibly well-built car. And so it pains me that fake millionaires have chosen this car as a means to trying to show off that they have more money than they have. But, you know, I got to give it to them, though. This one really works because Just about everybody will fall for this. And this car is the RollsRoyce Ghost. The Ghost is, you've seen it in my buyer's case studies, etc. The Ghost is one of the most unbelievable car hacks anywhere, because a person could literally be buying a 7 Series. That's right, a BMW 7 Series with a Rolls-Royce shell, which is what it is. And it's extremely affordable to fix. It's extremely reliable. It's incredible to drive. And more importantly, it still looks exactly as good as its brand new $350,000 counterpart, meaning it's still in its latest model. And even though some people will say there is a Series 2, there's this, there's that, the average person won't know the difference between a Series 1 headlight, a Series 2 headlight, a little indent on the bumper or not. And that's really what the Series 2 brings. It's a significantly better car, still in the 200s, but yet it's not that much of a better car that the Series 1 is now obsolete or not looked at, which is why the Series 1 has become one of the best or most sought after cars by fake millionaires. Now, this is the problem, is that it's just really well disguised car, and you'll never know the difference between a fake millionaire's RollsRoyce Ghost or a real millionaire's RollsRoyce Ghost, because there's just that incredible of a car. But I can give you one hint as to what you can look for to kind of start questioning your friends' financial assets and if they are indeed rich or poor. So the good RollsRoyce Ghost Series 1s are the ones that have a lot of features, including rear entertainment, rear picnic tables, and more importantly, about 4 buttons right on the left side of the steering wheel under the headlight switch. Those buttons are for options. That's right. Typically, the really cheap RollsRoyce Ghosts that are going for $70,000 to $80,000 are the ones that have no options and have over 50,000 miles. And so if you ever notice that one of your friends has a RollsRoyce Ghost with over 50,000 miles, you may want to start questioning him with better questions to discover if he's indeed rich or pretending to be rich. But I can still say that the RollsRoyce Ghost is such an incredible car that it makes it probably the best fake it till you make it car on the market. And honestly, an incredible, I'm not saying everybody who drives a Ghost is faking it, just saying that people are selecting these cars knowing that the prestige and the glamour around owning one is going to make you look 10 times richer than you are. So anyways, that's our list. 6 cars you could be looking at if you're trying to fake it till you make it, or ultimately 6 cars that you need to be conscious of your friends are using to fool you into thinking they're millionaires. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Just please subscribe to the channel. Give us a like or give me a hate button. I know you wish there was a hate button. You get hated. You're like, I hate this guy. But if you love us, then give us a like, leave a comment, start interacting if you think I missed some of the cars, or if you know a fake millionaire out there and what they're driving. Let us know who they are in terms of what car they're driving and how they're pretending, and we'd love to know. And please, keep the comments nice. It hurts my heart sometimes when I see you guys just talk about goats and where I'm from. It's just mean, man. Anyways, on to the fat Daniel Craigs and everything else. Till the next one.